The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party, featuring weekly discussions on political news and current affairs. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party.
I like this song.
Isn't it great? It's kind of like
Rome
our
picked
thing.
a great theme song.
We miss you, Rome. We just want to say that.
Yeah, Rome. What up?
I know. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Black Tea Party, right before Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys are going to have some fun this weekend. But before you do, make sure you hit it with us here. I'm your host, Stacey Ike, joined by my lovely co-host. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Stacey. How's it going, guys?
How we doing? Where can everyone find you during the show to tweet you?
At Michael Tmont. It's on the. I'll just spell it out. MIHKELTEEMANT.
Yay! Every time you spell it, it makes me happy because at least I'm like, okay, I got it.
I feel like I make it more confusing.
You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace during the show, and just to keep in touch with me throughout the weeks and your weekend. Also, we are joined on Skype with the amazing Don Nash. How you doing, Don Nash?
I'm good. And I have to say, following you on Instagram and Twitter is like the bomb because you like do these wonderful things.
Oh, you're incredible. Stop it. Look at that goatee, you guys. So fresh and clean, man. So fresh and clean. Okay, so let's jump into it. This is a really great week for news. A interesting collaboration of things happening. I kind of want Mike to kick it off because you tagged me in this on Facebook. And
Which one? The Waco?
The Waco thing.
Yeah,
and it was really interesting to hear about. And I thought I kind of want to hear what you thought to begin with.
Well, I think a lot of people. Well, first of all, we all pretty much know what happened. Now there was 3 gangs that met up at a David Lynchian restaurant called Twin Peaks somehow. And there was a biker gang fight, 9 people dead, over 170 arrests. Actually, one might have died. He was in critical condition since. But the most amazing thing is the media didn't say the word thug one time. We saw pictures of the guys after they're arrested on their cell phones, unhandcuffed, just sitting there. Now, 170 guys, I think maybe they're trying to say that's part of the problem, but there was no get down on the ground, any of this. And these are guys who were just fired shots.
Right.
Guys who had just broken out a war, basically, in public. And we're hearing nothing about white-on-white crime. And this stuff exists.
Yeah,
We're talking about these gangs, I read Into the Bandidos. They say the Hells Angels are too nice.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of guys we're talking about. And we're hearing nothing about this except from second case places like Salon. I posted an article from Salon.
I'm trying to pull it up now
it.
because it was incredible, this article. Don, did you get a chance to check out the article on Salon?
I did.
Okay.
I thought it was a great perspective. I mean, this whole thing actually kind of took me by surprise, to say the least. I mean, it really did. And I was intrigued to see what Michael just talked about. But I think it just goes to the climate that we have in our country right now as it relates to the privileged versus the unprivileged.
I think that's a great way to put in perspective, and I feel like you guys are on the same page, and I agree. And I thought it was so interesting because the article on Salon that you guys checked me out, and this isn't the only article that's available, obviously, but it was a very interesting perspective because it was written by a very young female who's white.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Jenny, shout out to you. We'd love to keep in touch. She should come on the show one day or something.
Yeah, that'd
but anyway,
be awesome.
just the way she spoke about it was very interesting. She was sarcastic a little bit, really subtle, but also sympathetic, yet a little irritated. She had a lot of, she had a lot of different emotions, and you guys should definitely check it out. We'll post it on Facebook, or if you guys want to check out that article, but it's pretty much titled "The Coverage of Waco Biker Gang Killings Reveals Disparities in News Coverage." So if you can, check that article out. It was really cool. And
my favorite thing was the words they used.
That's what I was going to get to. So
as a comedian,
was so interesting. Yes, the thing that, see, this is the thing. I try to take this article and then go and look at what other news coverage that Texas did during Baltimore, Ferguson. Yeah, because I don't want to say let me just take Jenny's word for it, or this article, or any other article for that matter, and let me see what actually was happening. And not to my surprise, yes, there were a lot of different words used. I can't believe how many other
Ruckus.
words there are.
I like how they used old-timey's 40s like news thing. There was a ruckus down at Twin Peaks. Like, that's how it sounded to me.
I've never
like
heard that.
melee.
Yeah.
Melee. There's bullets flying everywhere.
Brawl, issues, trouble,
Wait a minute.
chaos.
170.
Yeah.
Wow.
170. There was 190 total, by the way. Over 190 people involved.
Right.
Crazy. It just, I didn't realize. And the thing, like I said, I took it at CNN and New York Times, and I tried to keep it there only because those are bigger outlets, and those are outlets that everyone nationally was looking at during all those other situations. So to see what they said was so different: confrontation, problems, fight, chaos, shootout. Wow.
Shooting gallery.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, there's pictures now of this? Is this what's happening? It was very...
There's been conversation where this is considered organized, not
I know.
a game.
Wow. Crazy.
Well, and
crazy.
It's an organized thing with membership and bylaws and things of that nature. Yeah.
Well, Don, you kind of hit it on that. Like, here's the difference that I kind of noticed, and something that was pointed out in another article. The white gang, like Hell's Angels, Bandito, they all have lawyers. They still get that white privilege. Okay, these guys aren't guys that were like thrown out of the hood and in lower income areas. These are white people who just decided they wanted to be assholes. I'm not even going to use another word. They're assholes, okay? Biker gangs are assholes. They do some good things once in a while and we're supposed to forgive them. Yeah. Like everyone talks about the Hells Angels. Oh, they don't, and this is a good thing they do, okay? Every Christmas, the Hells Angels go to the local Walmart. They buy all the kids' bikes and they give them to kids in the neighborhoods.
Wow.
That doesn't make up for the meth they sell, the violence they create, okay? So, but like what? If the Crips and the Bloods started like doing a Toys for Tots, we just say all's forgiven?
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't happen if they're black.
Yeah.
But with white people, we're okay with it.
This was all what? A battle over who was going to be able to wear the Texas label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the official Texas biker game? I guess this is like their version of American Idol for biker gangs. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it could have been more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who's going to claim rights to this territory?
And that's the thing. I think it was very interesting.
Much like gangs, Don. Much like gangs. I've heard gangs and territory. I don't know. I'm just
throwing it out there.
The term gangs out or thugs.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because, and I think I can stand corrected, but from what I know, no one died in the Baltimore riots, right?
I mean, there were like, that's the thing is like people are going to point, and I already had a friend point to like, well, this shot, I'm like, when during Baltimore or during Ferguson were there 100+ people exchanging fire? There were isolated incidents that really had nothing to do with Baltimore or Ferguson. These were in poor neighborhoods where they were using Baltimore and Ferguson as a cover.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, every time they discovered it was a cover, and they were isolated incidents that had nothing to do with the actual riots.
Exactly.
This one we can all point to and go, this is all their fault.
I wonder how many times, and I think we have to wonder how many times this actually happens, but it doesn't get this type of notoriety. I think it's because it was so big that it got the notoriety.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think that means? And do you feel like it's okay? The only reason it was gotten the only reason they got the coverage that they did is because of the numbers, or do you feel like it was race? Do you feel like it was the bikers? Do it was Texas?
I think just because of the numbers. I think that when you pay attention to the culture of a biker community and these particular ones, there's been discussion. I don't know this to be factual, but there's been discussion about how these type of things happen, but they happen on a smaller scale. There's this tension and this rivalry between these two gangs, if you will, because we'll use the right term, in their sub-regional communities.
I don't know. I think it was just very interesting to watch and see, and to, like I said, I had a really good time reading an article from somebody with a similar perspective to us, but a different skin color or a different gender or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because I think it's beyond, like I always try to say, it's so much bigger than like this black-white issue. I think it's like a human thing. And once humans decide, okay, this is wrong regardless of what color I am or where I'm from or how much money I have, then we start making changes. So for her to write that, shout out again to Jenny. I thought that was really cool. And I learned a lot in terms of, I mean, not that I didn't know news coverage. I mean, we're in the media. We know how it goes sometimes, but it's really sad to witness it and no one saying anything.
Well, yeah, and this is the other thing people were doing is they were pointing out, hey, look, there were some Mexicans and black people in those gangs. Yeah, less than 10% of the gangs.
Do with anything?
No, I know, but there were white people at Baltimore and Ferguson. Right. How come it's always black when it's a riot because of poor, poverty? But in that case, in Ferguson, it was poverty, and they only pointed that they didn't talk about the white protesters there or the white people who looted in both Ferguson and Baltimore, did they? We had to find those on Facebook where they actually people had to take photos with their smartphones and post them online. That's how we found out.
You know what? Listen, I'm a firm believer that our jargon, our labels, the distinctions that we throw on people, be it individuals or groups, is all solely based upon the way we see them. We treat people the way we see them in America. And I think this is evident. And I think that this should be a wake-up call for America to pay attention, because this is, to me, it's just revelatory on a big level.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're going to move on to another topic that I thought was, again, very, very interesting. Did anyone get to hear about the Killer Mike situation?
Yeah, on Bill Maher.
Yeah, on Bill Maher, and what Bill O'Reilly, said to him originally to spark that conversation and his rebuttal, in a sense.
Bill O'Reilly, by the way, guys, beat his ex-wife in front of their daughter. So that's the good moral guy we're talking about. That came out this week too. I just want to put that in there before we talk about it. Maybe rap music contributed to him hitting her. I don't know. Maybe that's his whole thing.
I feel like you're trying to be funny right now.
No, he really hit his ex-wife.
No, not that, but the fact that you said...
I'm being sarcastic as hell, yes.
Okay. I was like, that can't be what... No. Anyway.
I held my laugh in.
Yeah, I was like, Mike, what are you saying? But I get what he said.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I don't.
So we've kind of touched on this subject before in terms of the association between fighting, gangs, violence, whatever, and hip hop, rap, and that kind of thing. Music in general is what we really need to do, but we've had this topic before. What did you guys think about Bill O'Reilly's comment about basically rap music destroying faith in America and in kids, and then Killer Mike's response, if you guys have anything on that?
I'll do the quick one. This is the Hemingway version. Bill O'Reilly is an idiot. Is that good?
It's good.
All right, cool. No, I mean, it's ridiculous because art is a reflection of its society around it. And what Killer Mike was talking about is absolutely right. Actually, it was used. The gangs were using that as a tool to not fight each other, things like that. And as hip hop progressed, and then you look at when did hip hop kind of change and become a little more violent and about that lifestyle, was the 80s.
Yeah,
when crack cocaine was introduced into the black neighborhoods and was destroying the community, and that became one of the things in poverty was drug dealing and violence around that.
And that's the thing. I feel like when Killer Mike mentioned that, Bill Maher was definitely like open-minded to it. But I don't know. I just feel like the way he explained it really set the pace for like, O'Reilly, you can't say stuff like that anymore, because this is not the first time Bill O'Reilly has said something to this effect, in terms of black culture and music.
What about punk and anarchy? How about that? How come they never talk about that?
They don't ever talk about it.
Yeah, no.
Here comes like my little minister hat. Every now and then I have
to put it on. Yeah, it looks good.
But it's because I don't always agree with O'Reilly. More oftentimes I don't agree with him, and I'm not saying that I agree with him here, but I think that that's a conversation that we need to have. I kind of give Mike a little resistance on the fact that art just kind of imitates it,
not all the time. It's a back and forth, but it's part of the conversation when we're talking about it. And when you look at those, like when you look at Nas and, go ahead, Don.
I definitely agree that I think that there is an imitation of society of the world around us that is expressed in art, but I do think on a very large level, art influences the world. I've traveled to like third world countries, and I've seen people wearing like Madonna t-shirts that don't have TVs.
I know. Wow.
And I've seen people mimic our American superstars, if you will, simply because of the glimpse that they've seen, and it's altered their world. So I think it does have a profound effect. I also think that the content of some of our music, particularly rap, I think perpetuates a morally desensitized sensory perception. I mean, I think that there's a numbness that has come because we've learned to sing about it. We've come to laugh at some certain things. And dare I, what was it, the SAE, when the grandmother was on there singing the song you know, and there was laughter. Well, there was half of the folk that were upset that they would, you know, sing this and that they would, you know, put this video out. But then the argument to rebut that was, well, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do you draw the line?
I very much understand what you're saying, and I do agree with pretty much 75% of that, because I think it's really hard. For me, maybe. I do agree, because I had a huge problem when Jay-Z's, you know, N-Words in Paris came out, and everybody was singing it. I mean, white, black, yellow, green was just jamming to this song. And I had a real issue with that, because I'm thinking, like, this is an awkward song for us to all be gathering around singing. I get the content of it was, all right, I'm making money, and like, if you came from where I came from, you'd understand. And I had to get to that mindset for me to be like, okay, you're just at a concert, like, you're not here at church, you don't have to like say anything, it's not your place. But it is and the thing is, when you look to the rappers and you ask them about it, they say, well, that's my experience, or, you know, I didn't tell anyone to buy my music, or it doesn't matter. That's what I say. And then you look to someone, maybe even the grandmother, for instance, that those words were in a song that she's singing. So do you tell somebody who's white, by the way, when you sing this song, you need to delete these words while you're singing? No. I don't delete any songs when I'm singing Taylor Swift. You know, so or any words. So why would anybody?
What word would you? Did she say redneck? Are you guys not allowed to say that?
I'm just saying.
Well,
and remember, one of Jay-Z's arguments, particularly about the N-word, was that in rap music, they aspire to take the power back. You know, I think that's over that word, so that word doesn't mean what it once meant.
I agree with that.
In that is indicative of an impact that it has on culture.
Yeah, and that's it. And to further that argument, it's just like when guys and call girls, or when girls call themselves the B word or the C word, and they're like, I'm taking it back. I don't want it. I never asked for it. I don't want to retake that. But I think it's all those words that have those, you know.
No, but see, that's the problem. The problem is we put way too much meaning behind words and not context. This is where I'm going to go off base with you guys. Is you got to take things in context of what they are. Because, like, I mean, that's the thing. It's funny because, like, if I'm talking, now I won't on here, but like me and Rome would have conversations and we'd be talking about the N-word. In those conversations with Rome, I trust him enough that if I use the word, because I think just saying N-word, you know what I mean? If you know me well enough and I'm talking about the context of the word, I don't think, and I see that with my comic friends, they don't mind. And the reason they don't seem to mind is...
That's the point. The point is, you know Rome. Rome knows you. We know you. So there's a context that's attached to our relationship.
Right.
When you're throwing something out there in the mass media, what is the context?
No, I get... Well... when you're a black art, like look at Eminem and Macklemore. Those are two white rappers who do not use the word whatsoever.
Okay.
So they seem to know. It's this weird line where you gotta. How do I put this?
Do you think they should be using the word?
I think they should do whatever they want with their art, and they should explain their art, and that is fine with me. Like when perfect example in Illmatic, that is a great album, right? And he's talking about some of the worst things about growing up in the ghetto, and it's a reflection of him when you hear him explain it. Now, if you just listen to the isolated songs and you don't have any context what it is, that's where Bill O'Reilly's getting off base. Here we go, back to Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly has no context for that, and he doesn't want to know the context for that.
Right,
so to him, he goes, oh, they're propagating this as a good thing. No, Nas is actually very much in those songs saying, this isn't good, this is scary, this is fearful, this is not, no one should have to deal with this kind of deal, right? He's talking about that on the album, but if you want to take it out of context and just look at the words, sure, I guess it's offensive. Now he's I mean, you need to ask the question, what did they mean by that?
The thing is, are you asking 13-year-olds to ask the question, what do they mean by that? That's the hard thing.
No, like, a parent needs to sit down with their kids and listen to what they're like. I mean, first of all, parents are listening to these songs with their kids
to understand what they mean. When you tell a joke, you don't give the cliff notes. You don't give the backstory. You tell the joke for the punchline, and you trust that your audience will be able to get your temperament,
absolutely,
to get your sarcasm, right?
That's what I'm talking about. That's context. That's what. But even in that case, case, wait, Don. In that case, I can be telling a joke. And all the context, everyone in the room except one person doesn't like and they didn't listen to the context. They heard a word, and they don't like that word. Even if I'm making fun, like I do a whole thing. Someone got they groaned because I do a whole play on words with my dog, and she is with bitch because her name's Beyonce. All right. So, and I say, unlike Jay-Z, I got 99 problems, and I do have a bitch named Beyonce that is one. That's the joke, right? And someone took offense to that. When I'm talking about a dog, it's a play on words. Now, I don't know why you'd be offended. I'd
still be offended. It's so weird.
Okay, fine. You have every right to be offended.
I just think I hate the B word. That's another story. Go ahead.
Because the word is charged.
And
that's why you use the word.
But Michael, the word also has a context.
No, I know that's my point. Is my context in that play is
I mean, the N word is charged. The B word is charged. So when you use it, and I get it, I would laugh at the joke.
Most people do.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm able to calculate that it's a play on words fast, and maybe the person sitting next to me can't calculate that.
That's pretty clear. I mean, that's the thing. I'm talking about a female dog. I'm talking about Beyonce, my dog's name. It should all be laid out. And afterward, like, I don't know what else can I do other than not say the joke. And it's a joke that hits.
Okay, well,
what am I supposed to do?
To go off of that topic, so as an artist, and then, we can bring in other artists. We can bring in a lot of the most popular artists who do use very interesting words in their content. Do you think they're sitting around like, how could people be offended by this? Why didn't they get it? And
I think you're a shitty artist if you do that. You shouldn't. Your art should.
People want the shock effect as well.
No, it's not about shock value though. It's about it. Like for my comedy, I don't. Like I said, I don't use the N word on stage. I don't say the. I don't use the derogatory terms for transgender people or.
What did you say, Don?
What, Don?
I was wondering why people chose to not use the N-word on stage.
Because it's just not, because it doesn't reflect how I talk. It doesn't reflect what I want to talk about. And so it would be weird for me to use it on stage. And there's people I know who don't swear at all on stage because they're just like, I've tried swearing on stage and it doesn't work. I've tried not swearing on stage. It doesn't work for me. Because if you guys hear me, I swear enough on here, but outside of here, I swear a lot. So.
But it does reflect a culture and a dynamic that you're sometimes exposed to.
Yeah, it's a reflection. I mean, it's.
So my question is, are you impacting society, or is society impacting you when you make those choices?
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people who I don't mind going, if I know a joke's offensive, but it makes a point I want to make, I'll still say the joke. Because to me, I mean, in my comedy, I like to make points. So to me, I don't care if you're like Louis C.K., everyone's up in arms about his thing on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if we're getting to that or anything. But his whole thing is you have the right to be offended. It's a good, healthy thing for people to be offended. When you offend somebody, you've caused them to think and you've opened a discussion. And I 100% agree with that. Now comes the discussion. We need to act like adults and talk about context and stuff. He's a guy, by the way, he's a guy who uses the N-word on stage.
I kind of think that's unfair when somebody goes into a situation saying, I know I'm about to offend, but I'm going to make a point. It's like, but you're about to offend me.
So what? I don't care. If you don't like don't ever come see me again. And I also think people need to try and see the comedians or see who they're going to go see. I don't even think
I mean comedians, because I think it's, it is a
I'm talking about
world for
comedy.
But yeah,
for that,
I get what you mean. Okay, I get what you mean.
But I think that really good comedians, that I've heard that are kind of a little charged on some things, will always give an explanation if necessary, because they get that people are going to miss it.
Well, I agree. And that's my point is, though, like when Louis C.K., people for years have been, like, white people have been really upset he uses the N-word. But what you don't know about Louis C.K. is he played black clubs for years. So in the black comedy community, he gets a pass. But when he uses it, he doesn't just arbitrarily use it. He's using it to make points. And you can disagree with the points. My thing is, don't watch Louis C.K. if you don't like hearing that. Well, it's that easy. Everyone wants to go after the artist. The artist should get to do what they want.
Are entertainers supposed to be socially responsible?
Okay,
if they want to.
That is a question I have been asking myself probably since I had my own radio station and this, that, and the third, and I had those older conversations with my parents, because I don't know. It's very interesting to tell somebody, hey, like, I know you're making this music and this is how you feel, but since you're this big, can you like tone it down or not do this? I think I have this biggest context when it comes to Rihanna, because I think she's a really huge star, and I think she's fabulous in terms of fashion and that kind of thing, but there's certain things she does that I just cannot get with, and it's very frustrating because I know that like my little sister who's 12 loves her.
So you have to give a
my
context
little sister who's 12 loves Miley. Not anymore probably, but there was a time that those are her people, and I'm like, this is very uncomfortable because you're 12 years old. I'm not going to have you listen to Bitch Better Have My Money. I just don't think that's appropriate.
We read too far into what kids think about, though. I think kids hear songs.
How is that possible?
Well, they've already proved it with video games and songs. They've done the studies. The studies show that kids who are more prone to violence are going to be more prone to violence. It has nothing to do with video games.
I don't even think
it has nothing to do with songs. You don't listen to a song and go, I don't think many people listen to songs. I think it could help influence a conversation.
Reading those studies and watching those videos.
Well, I think the people who watch Scarface and think it's real, they had no parental guidance telling them this is not good. Things like that. Like I don't think it's that hard. I had parents always looking over me going, hey, listen, this is what this is.
But I don't think that's...
I think when certain things, Michael, enter the eye gate or the ear gate, it impresses something on the canvas of the imagination of the individual that's taking it in. I really believe that.
I have to believe that too, and I think there's, to the other point, when it comes to parents, we have to speak for those who also don't have parents. All of us seem to have...
Don't.
Well, why?
It's not,
why not?
Because it's not my job. I didn't jizz in somebody. I don't need to be a parent. I'm not a parent. It's not my job to make sure all my material... Guess what? I go to clubs that are 21 and over. My whole point in going to clubs 21 and over is that I'm talking to adults. What kids see is not my fault. It's not my problem.
I don't mean you as an artist. I mean...
Huh? What?
No, I'm agreeing with Stacey. Stacey, go ahead.
Well, I don't mean you as an artist and you should watch. I mean, when we say, it's not that hard, parents need to do this. What about the kids without parents? That's what I mean. I mean, we keep saying that like if parents just take over their kids or whatever, that'll be fine. But we have to understand where we live and what we know. I mean, as we drove on the way here, I mean, you see several homeless people, kids, not kids,
41,000 in Los Angeles.
So I'm just saying we have to speak and be a little bit more... We have to be more alert to kids that don't have parents and don't have that kind of guidance. What are we doing for them? And I don't know if artists have that responsibility. I don't know if I'll ever answer that question because we're all artists.
Why do we want to... That's the thing, though, is I don't get why everyone wants... All of a sudden, you're good at tracking... Okay, let's go to Floyd Mayweather, okay? Real quick. Everyone's mad... No, I'm going to Floyd for a reason. Because everyone... For all intents and purposes, a lot of people don't like him, including myself, because of his domestic violence record. Guess what? He's still one of the best boxers in the world, and people were mad he gets to fight. Guess what? Boxing is an individual promoted event. He can fight whenever he wants as long as he doesn't lose out. And if he doesn't have a license, he can go do an unrestricted one somewhere. So the way you stop people from succeeding is you don't support them. So $180 million worth of your money went to him. Why did you do that?
Taking O'Reilly's point that these type of things has an impact on society where we become desensitized from our moral values.
Or we can put in context, like my parents put in context, like, listen, these guys, like when I started coming up, like I was big into music for a long time. John Coltrane, heroin addict. Charlie Parker, heroin addict. Jimi Hendrix, everything under the sun, right? My parents sat me down and was like, listen, these people do these things, and they gave me a context because they saw who I liked, and they gave me a context of the things they do don't reflect, you know what I mean? They were giving me a context of this is their music. You need to separate the music from the person. Now, I've made decisions on my own since, but my parents definitely sat me down, and for a long time, I didn't try anything. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. And I had those same influences that a lot of people do. You know what really got me to do that stuff? Friends at parties. That's when I smoked weed for the first time. Drinking for the first time, I was at a party with a bunch of high school students.
But Michael, you have to be...
It wasn't a song that made me go, I need to go drink.
Wow.
It was peer pressure. That's what happens to most kids.
Yeah, well, because I'm susceptible to something because I believe because I've been exposed to it, it makes me more vulnerable and susceptible to it.
I know way too many Mormon kids because I grew up Mormon that have never drank in their life, and yet they love some of these alcoholics that sing. Somehow it didn't influence them.
And the thing is, to that point, I can agree with Mike because there are a lot of kids that it doesn't bother them at all. But what we're saying, or what I'm saying, is that there's several that it does, and we're just trying to figure out a way, all three of us, to come up with some. I mean, I don't know if it's like we have to
have discussions, and that's what we don't want to have. That's the problem. We're having a good discussion,
right? I don't think there's a conclusion to this, to be honest, because you can't, because none of us are Killer Mike, and none of us are, Bill O'Reilly. None of us can really say, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. I'm not Rihanna, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. So I think it is interesting overall to have this discussion. I remember there was a moment that I did decide that, I wouldn't say I decided I was okay, but I understood what it is to be an artist and how hard that can be. Because to be honest, you don't like some people wake up, like for me personally, if I ever get the chance to have fame or whatever, my job or my goal would be to be an influence. That's literally what I would want to do. But Rihanna specifically said, I was not trying to be anybody's role model. And I watched that Oprah interview and wow,
same with Charlie Sheen.
Like, yeah, that was not what I was trying to do. I'm not perfect. That's why, the ways that I act, I think my fans are like my friends. Like, I legit act like they do. And I'm like, you really do. It's kind of weird. And that's really
that's who she is.
That's who she is. So in that respect, I've kind of been like, okay, well, you can't expect the same thing from everybody. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, and I mean, really, she's a pretty good artist from what I mean, I'm not into her music, but it's nothing against her. I listen to jazz and folk, guys. Look at me.
Yeah, I love folk music anyway.
So but with Rihanna, it's sitting there going, okay, who are we gonna? But people, guess who's buying her albums? It's not just black kids. It's a bunch of white suburban kids. It's a ton of white suburban kids. A ton of white suburban kids buy rap.
This is not. Once we come to music, there's no race involved.
O'Reilly's statement, as well as Ben Carson, who also made the same
Carson's an idiot.
You hate him.
I think their statement is that there's an impact on the moral value of American society and stemming from our entertainment. And I just think that there's room for that discussion.
I think
for that to be a valid point.
And I think it's really crazy because wow, I don't know if it's because I'm older now, but I think watching entertainers, or maybe it's because I live in LA, but watching the way entertainment has influence on us, it's insane. Literally, the fact that Tidal just came out, Jay-Z's new Spotify, and all the biggest artists are involved in it, and there's music videos now, and now Beyonce is feeling herself, and there's all that. I mean, trust me, for the next 6 weeks, every Instagram post will say something about feeling themselves. That's what's going to happen. Because that's what we do. It's very crazy to watch now, be a part of, and to, we're on the carpets, we're interviewing them, we're here, and we're witnessing it. And I'm like, wow, literally, Rihanna could wear all green, and now that's cute.
But why do we only talk about the bad things? Here's a good thing about Floyd Mayweather. He's donating $60 million to help build black businesses, small black businesses. That's a pledge he made with his $180 million that no one's talking about, by the way. And he's got plenty. The guy's a dick. Anyway, there's plenty to not like about him, but no one's covering that. I had to see that on a friend of mine post a bunch of from Atlantic Star News, something like that. That deals mainly with black news, and that's where I saw that. Jay-Z and Beyonce are giving a ton of money to help rebuild the neighborhoods in Baltimore, and I've hardly seen anything on that. And I saw a blurb, and then I saw some articles, but that's it.
That's interesting, because that's probably the truth about, we've seen it time and time again, especially on this show. If it bleeds, it leads. Yeah. And that's what goes. We get the bad and we don't get to see the good until that's what I was saying that 2 weeks ago, I think. Unless we're in Baltimore, we don't get to see how it all turns out. Yeah. We don't get to see how people came together and hugged and are happy, or whatever the case is. We don't get to know that. So it's very frustrating, and that's kind of how the media works. And I don't know. What do you think, Dawn, to wrap this topic up?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that we need to check our moral values, and I think that we need to support the things that actually perpetuate what we say we stand for, and not the thing that entices us. And we find ourselves kind of supporting and fanning the flame for some foolishness. Because I don't want to. Some of the stuff I don't listen to. I don't want it in my space.
Mm-hmm. But that's the way to get rid of it. You just nailed it on the head. That's what we need to do. If you don't like something, don't support it.
But I'm also not easily baited by it. I think that what we're speaking to is the vulnerable culture when we talk about the children. They're easily baited by it. They grow up and they want to be like the celebrity.
No, but I think you're wrong. I think they more like I had more influence on my brother than like anybody, and he told me that. Like I think we look at these big stars like they're really the hero. These kids don't really know who these people are. They might like what they do. If you talk to a kid about what like my friend's daughter likes Lana Del Rey, right? Thank you. Finally figured it out. All right. And he was like really like she did this one indie like little short film and there was like a rape scene in it and stuff and he was like and she never saw it. She's like 12 and he's like she listened to her music and her music has nothing to do with that. But if you ask the kid what I was like, hey, what do you think about Lana Del Rey? She's like, I like her music a lot. That was how deep she got on Lana Del Rey. I think as they get older they look more into it. Like I'm a person who looks at movies and I look really deep. I like deep movies. I like indie movies like that like yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I like those kind of films. And
I know we're trying to get off of this subject, but Michael, you just opened something up for me. So I'm like 2 weeks older than both of you, right? And so I've seen the entertainment industry kind of shift. I remember where I grew up watching I Love Lucy, and something as simple as them not being able to sleep in the same bed on television.
Okay.
And then as time has progressed, you then see that we're butt naked in television, and now we're showing, nudity on television because somewhere along the line the moral pendulum has swung.
But because guess what? People are less Christian nowadays. That just came out in a study. And that's what's happening is we have different but you're going under your moral values. Not all of us have those moral values. Some of us don't care about nudity. I could give two shits less about it. So when you're coming to me like the moral value of nudity, I'm like, it's nudity. It's really not that big a deal. If you want to have a discussion about morality,
I'm not making a ploy about nudity. I'm just using it as an example to show how far we've come from what we once censored or held.
When there were 3 stations on broadcast, and it was a totally different. You couldn't say hell in half the programs before I Love Lucy.
But do you think
that was a big deal that they were an interracial couple? You know that, right? That was the first interracial couple on TV, from what I understand, was Ricky and Lucy. Right. So I mean, that was edgy. When William Shatner kissed, oh my God, I'm gonna forget her name.
But I think I don't want us to miss the point though. The point is that the pendulum has moved, and I think Stacey, I kind of heard you under there saying something. Do you think that these things change because people aren't Christian?
No, I said I don't think it's because you said people aren't all Christian and it's just his specific moral values, but I don't think it has to do with religion. I don't think we need to say, oh, it's because people are Christian.
Okay, but when it comes to nudity and that stuff, who are we talking about? We're not talking about secular people or atheists or agnostics.
No, you have no idea.
I do. I know everybody. A lot of them. Oh my God. I think there's an appropriate. That's why we have the rating system for kids.
I would never stand on here and say, well, when we're talking about this, we're talking about all Christian people. I would never say that. I make it very clear every single episode.
Okay, it could be Muslims. It can be a bunch of different religions. It's the religious who care about nudity on television. That's what I'm talking about.
No, it could be my atheist friend as well. You have no idea. Just because somebody's an atheist doesn't mean they have no...
No, but then don't watch the program. It's already said. There's 2 ways. George Carlin said it best. There's 2 ways you can change programming. Turn it off or change the channel.
Moral value will not always be defined by
religion.
A religious definition.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I agree, but if y'all stop watching the things people are complaining about, then they'd change it. If everyone wasn't watching Empire, the things they do on Empire wouldn't happen. But you guys, every time you watch
but you're only talking. I don't know if you're talking to us two.
I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking about any program. All you have to do is not watch the program. If you don't,
I don't know.
Here's a non-moral program we can go after. Let's go after the Kardashians like everybody else. You want to know why they have 5 TV shows on? Because people are watching, and everybody complains about it. But if you just turned off the channel, they wouldn't have viewers, and no one would watch the show, and they wouldn't have a show anymore. Everyone wants to be like, this show has too much of this, or NYPD Blue showed an ass one time, or they said the word shit. And yet, if people didn't watch, they wouldn't do that stuff. So everyone watching is to blame, not the creators. The creators are following their creative aspects. They're going under rules a lot of times the stations set out for them. The NBC, CBS, and ABC have specific, strict rules in which they can't show most nudity. They can't swear. They can't even say GD on I'm trying to be better on network television, but everyone wants to complain about the thing, and yet they're all watching. It's like Howard Stern. Howard Stern got big because the people who loved him listened for 45 minutes a day, and the people who hated him listened for 3 hours a day, and they built him into an empire. They hated the thing and kept listening.
Well, that goes to a couple different artists and a couple people who did get bigger, because the haters like to hate. It's just like Miley Cyrus. People did a lot of complaining when she was changing her game and changing who she was as a person, and people went in on Disney Channel and morals and whatever. But the truth is, the haters go to the concert just as much as the people who love her do. So yeah, it's an issue, but I don't think we should use that to say that things haven't changed and act like that just means that it's...
But why did they change? Because we went from 3 stations to how many do you have on satellite? 1,000 stations. We have 1,000 options
Don,
now.
What were you going to say?
No, I was agreeing with you, Stacey. And now hearing Michael, I do think we have 1,000 stations, but I come from the fundamental place that all that television and all this foolishness that we're speaking of has an impact on society. I just don't think that, it doesn't.
Well, with that said, let's quickly go into this last topic. If you guys make sure, obviously you can see this was a heated conversation, so make sure you tweet us throughout the weekend. The last topic we're going to talk about is the State Department is saying that they need these emails from Clinton, but they're not going to release them until 2016 in January. And I assume she's a little impatient at this point, just because basically, from what I understood, she was sending emails through her personal email. They want to know what it's about. So they
like Governor Scott Walker, but no one's talking about him. All right.
Yeah, so they want to do some dipping and diving into her personal stuff, which I don't know. I set the question up: do public figures deserve privacy? And how does that? What do you guys think about that? And I've had this argument several times. I think especially through college, learning how to be a journalist and how to report and what questions to ask, because you do want to respect their privacy, but you're walking a red carpet or you're doing a movie or you're whatever. So, I mean, she's running for president at this point. So, does she deserve any privacy? Do you guys think?
Well, I mean, just to kind of keep some clarity, because Michael earlier brought the point up about context. And I think that when we talk about her maybe deserving privacy or not deserving privacy, what we should indicate is that she is now releasing or has released her email content. Right. But her server, which was held at home, has been completely washed away or cleaned. So it simply means that there's probably some content that was there that no longer exists.
Is
that a problem for you guys?
No, only because, Dawn, like, she cleared her server every so often, and it was a scheduled serving thing. Like, I don't know. That's one thing I saw, and the other thing is, I get it. Yeah. And so I think the people who don't want Clinton in office are using this as a ploy to put doubt. They're still using Benghazi, which has been overturned and looked at as ridiculous now. Right. But it's just a smear campaign against Hillary, in my opinion. I can't say either way, but
she has indicated that she wants the emails to be released to the public. She wants it to be done as soon as possible, and I think there's a little strategic planning in her, saying she wants it as soon as possible, because we're not at the point where we're running the race for general elections yet, but come January, we'll be on that track for that, which means that becomes a conversation at the time when she really needs to be clean as a whistle on her campaign.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If they release it in January 2016, I mean, I'm sure we won't find like anything too crazy, but just the fact that it's going to be released the same time we start thinking about who we're going to vote for. Yeah. They're very slick with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, the flip side of that coin is that maybe she's slick.
Yeah. She's a politician, Anna Clinton.
Because there's a lot of question around as it concerns to their integrity when it comes to things like this. So, I think I'm glad that she's made them available. I'm glad that she's pressing to make them available as soon as possible. But I think that even if they, are made available in February of 2016, Hillary Clinton is a strong candidate. I think that she is not afraid of anyone's interrogation. I mean, I've just seen this lady deal with it.
Yeah.
But
do you think it's even a big deal, though? Why do we need her in?
And I've said it here on Black Tea Party. I'm Hillary.
Look at that.
I'm endorsing Bernie Sanders, but I like Hillary's my second choice if Elizabeth Warren doesn't run.
Which she won't.
No,
Mike.
she won't.
Yeah.
I know she won't. I can hope, okay?
Okay, you can.
I can hope.
I'm sorry.
I hope she gets put in charge of the Treasury.
Hillary has an email that she sent to her.
My thing is, what is the deal? Even like, I kind of mentioned that, this week, Obama got a Twitter. Obama got Twitter. Okay, he got, so President of the United States is on Twitter, and it's a huge deal, and it's funny, and it's awesome, and whatever the case is, but it's very interesting to me because I get it, they're public figures, and but for some reason, I've always been about everybody having privacy.
But no. See, okay, here's the difference.
It freaks me out that we even need the emails. I'm kind of weirded out by that.
I think the email thing's ridiculous because they're just trying to trap her into something that they can make a scandal to make Republicans against her. That's all they're really trying to do.
Right. But
in let's look at the last segment we did about artists and how much we want to control them. These guys literally are public figures. Let's not forget that. They signed up for the job of being open and a servant of the public. So that's where I get a little, I think you give up a little privacy when you do that, especially when you have an important job that needs to be overseen, like Secretary of Defense.
Michael, but do you think that you give up your, and I heard Hillary say this, so this isn't just my opinion. Yeah. Hillary said, there are emails that I get from family members and things of that nature, or friends that are reaching out, and we go back and forth. Yeah. That's not any of your business.
That's what I was about to say. I was like,
agree.
When she has lunch.
But she should have separated her emails, and that would have been. See, that's the thing.
But I thought
we're looking at it like, no, she didn't. That was the problem. She was sending. She was saying the reason we have to look at both. See, this is the problem. We have to look at both because she chose to take a shortcut and use her personal email sometimes for state things. So that's the issue. The issue is she broke a rule. Now, I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal, the rule she broke, because like Governor Walker's done it. Colin Powell said, yeah, I did that too. Everybody does it because it's just easier. Yeah. But she opened herself up to that scrutiny by choosing to be lazy and not use the separate accounts, in my opinion.
There's also some vulnerability with the governmental system, email system as well.
Yeah, but then it's secured on that network, and it would no longer be her issue. At this point, that would be the government's issue. That she opened it up when she used her personal email. Did. So I'm not saying that
she did. I agree with that. But I think
that's the difference to me.
I can agree with that.
Now to the White House.
Come on, Sanders.
Oh, please. No offense.
Sanders is the best.
I do agree with that point, but I just think it's very interesting. Just like, I know this doesn't really mirror in how big of a deal it is, but even when the Sony emails got leaked and everyone's job was at jeopardy and the way we saw them, it's just really crazy because I'm like, that's their personal, I mean, what they said was trifling and ridiculous and whatever the case is, but they said it in their personal email. Well, it was a Sony email, but the point is, it was their email box to a friend with their comments. It's like when Hillary sends a text message to her daughter, hey girl, let's get lunch and let's go to the Beverly Center after, which I'm sure she doesn't go to. But the point is, why do we have to know about it? And I understand this specific thing, but I just wonder what it trickles into for future stuff. I mean, like when.
Yeah, I don't think every personal, like I said, my exception with the whole. I mean, they do have one point in that she shouldn't have been using her personal email, and that's why she opened it up. I agree with that. So, but other than that, no, you're right. There needs to be some. But we also need to remember. Everyone seems to not get, and I keep saying that we're in the digital age, and people like, dude, Google saves everything you search. Yeah. In case you didn't know, you don't need the NSA. Google saves it. So like everything you search one day. I mean, there was this is just off topic slightly, but there was a pastor and a senator this week who got caught on Grindr. Two separate cases of anti-gay, homophobic figures who were caught on Grindr, which is a gay dating app. It's a hookup site. Sorry. And so. But who did? Of course they got outed because they're homophobic and anti-gay. So why would a gay guy is going to look at and why wouldn't they didn't even hide their identity? Like you can't do that anymore. You can't emails. All this stuff gets saved. We need to stop pretending there's secrecy really because everything is open to be hacked. WikiLeaks has proved it. WikiLeaks got state documents no one thought ever would see the light of day and. Manning is still in Chelsea Manning is still in prison for it.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think we must draw a line. I think.
Oh, I agree, Don. I'm saying.
I take a selfie. Like that. Send it to somebody. I could wind up in court one day because I took that selfie and I sent it to somebody. And now what I sent on my own personal cell phone becomes used against me in a court of law.
No, that's what I'm saying, Don. Exactly. I'm saying people need to be more careful and watch themselves because everyone's like sending, like think of all the what was it? The Apple, when all the celebrity selfies that got released, the naked selfies from celebrities. people need to stop trusting technology. If you want to send a selfie to your loved one, send a Polaroid. It doesn't get downloaded. You send one, you can throw it in the fire.
It's like technology has made things really exciting and really complicated.
But I could with a Polaroid one step.
No, but we're talking about personal responsibility earlier, Don. I'm not saying that it's right that people hack these things. I'm saying everyone needs to be aware these things aren't that hard to hack, and that people upload things and download things like nothing. I got a notice once I needed a song really bad. I try never to download music illegally, but I need it for a radio project. And like the next week, Time Warner sent me a thing. They suck. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. Time Warner sent me a notice saying, "Hey, we noticed you BitTorrented this thing," and it was just one song, MP3. And so, but that's the thing is we pretend like all these things are just out in the internet and nobody can know these things. So I'm saying we need to think more before we, not that it's wrong what people are doing. I'm saying we need to look out. You need to look out for yourself is what I'm saying.
No, I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong with some of the, I'm just going to say Big Brother, what Big Brother's looking at. Like I have a Gmail account.
Yeah. And
I noticed that if I look at something on Google or anything on my computer, or if I have an email, I'll then be marketed in the body of my Gmail page with things that are buzz are words in the context of my email. What that? So Gmail has admitted to looking into your email.
Yeah, they've never hidden that.
Buzzwords.
It's the creepiest thing. I won't even lie.
But we get that service for free. The way around that is you can pay for your own server and pay the monthly fee to have your own, like Hillary Clinton has her own server. And there's a reason her and Bill have one. Yeah, they have their own server because they want everything to be secure.
My search history. Tell me that if I search for something, you'll market that. But do not tell me that I went somewhere and I put my email address on a registration thing and someone then sent me an email and now you look into that email and market me based upon that email. That means my email is not private.
Yeah, it's very crazy. And I think it's really funny because you'll meet somebody and then a couple hours later they're like on your LinkedIn as like suggestions of someone you need to know. And I'm like, what the?
No, I know. Yeah.
I'm serious. I feel like we're all wearing a chip. But anyway, I don't want to get into it because next week will be even better. You guys are awesome. This was a wonderful episode of Black Tea Party. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Don, do you have a quick sign off? Where can everyone keep in touch with you during the weekend?
Hey, I'm on Facebook, but you can catch me on Instagram, Mr. Don Nash, or you can catch me on Twitter at Don's Daily Dose.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Don, for chatting with us. You guys can keep in touch with us. Love you. Don, not Don. Mike, where can everyone keep in touch with you?
MichaelTmont.com. I have some dates coming. I'll be in Murrieta, California, June 5th, and in Louisville, the 10th through the 14th, something like that. So go to MichaelTmont.com or at MichaelTmont and I'll get in contact.
You're working. Awesome.
Trying.
Well, you guys can keep in touch with me on Twitter and Instagram and all other social media on YouTube. And I'm trying to get on Periscope. And I'm also on Snapchat now. So, wow. I'm going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks, but I will be calling in. So you guys will not see me, but you'll hear me. So make sure to keep in touch with us again. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend. It's really fun. Snapchat is really fun.
I don't get it.
It's really awesome, I promise. It's so fun. I love
Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.